Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Peace Talks. I will tell you, I feel like poop today. Not terrible poop, but I haven't felt like poop and haven't felt right in physically. Emotionally, that's a whole different ball game, but physically, I have not felt ill for, I can't even remember the last time. However, I've got some reasons for that. So if you're feeling a little bit physically a little tired, depleted, I have been feeling a lot in my chest and just a lot of like pressure. I could call it my sinuses, but there's a lot going on right now that also add to this. I was sharing last week, I think it was last Thursday, how I had gone up to a hike at my normal morning hike place and had felt, was having a whole purge up there, and shared the story of literally like feeling, well, I guess again, literally is not it, but how literally emotionally feeling my heart break open for a past trauma that I didn't fully experience, that I didn't fully feel. And I knew at that point, feeling the effects of that emotional break and the flood of energy that went through me. When we do finally purge, especially a rather large, and we have a rather large emotional purge, we will have effects physically, because our body is going to have to expel that energy in some way. So it makes sense to me that my chest area kind of has felt like it's I don't have any cough, but when I take a deep breath, I have to cough, so it's like it's just working its way out of my chest area. Um, and I'm going to share a couple other things too that are happening in our physical bodies, but energetically as well, because as we've been talking about, tomorrow is the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, and this is a really, really big event. It naturally is every year a natural event where the divine feminine energy comes flooding in. However, this is the year that it is wide open. And if you've been following Patricia Cota Robles's her weekly blog, like I've talked about a couple weeks ago, she kind of went through the history of why the buildup of this particular solstice energy and the divine feminine energy coming in is happening. And this has been building up for the last 500 years to this particular solstice. It's also the 10th anniversary of the solstice on 12 in 2012. And if you remember, like it's funny now when we look back on things. Remember, like when we flipped over to the year 2000, everyone thought everything was going to go haywire. And 2012, everybody thought the Mayan calendar had ended, and it was going to be the end of times. And what we know now, like what we know, is that is true. And yet there was a shift. There was a shift in the timing of the Mayan calendar. So it really wasn't 2012 where the end of times occurred. It was actually 10 years early. So it in 2022 was when the end of times came. Now, that doesn't mean the world is going to end tomorrow. What it meant was the end of an era, the end of an age. However, the seed was planted. The seed was planted for the ascension cycle to begin in 2012. Can you remember where you were and I asked that simply because I was in Joshua Tree, California in the solstice. I was at a retreat for the solstice on 2012, and when I look back on that retreat was so life changing. I was aware of energy, but I don't want to say as like knowledgeable, but I just didn't understand it as much. But at the peak of the solstice, I was in a workshop, and we all left the workshop and went outside, and there was this wishing well kind of fountain that was on one of the energy vortexes in Joshua Tree. And there's probably about 15 of us, and we all circled around this wishing well, this fountain, and held hands and just stayed in silence. I think for 12 minutes. I don't know if that I made that up, but we stayed in silence for a specific amount of time. And it was the first time that I felt like energy flowing through, that I was aware of energy flowing through and like around the circle, because we were holding hands, as I said. And if you've ever been in Joshua Tree, it was so quiet. Like the silence was deafening. But in a way that it was in that moment, it was so life changing. And also, in that at that time, my first marriage was pretty much kind of in shambles. At that point, I was in shambles. I knew I had to make a move. There was a lot shifting. And I, now looking back, I can understand why. There was a seed that was planted. There was something in my consciousness that knew I had to start taking steps to making changes for the upcoming new era. There was an end. There was an end that was happening at that time. And I, was still avoiding it, but it was kind of coming to that point, I think, where many of us are now, because there is an end that is now being called forth from many of you. And even in myself, actually, there we are being called to end the things that are out of balance. And why I bring this up is because that seed was planted for me in 2012. And had I known where I would ever be in 2022 and 10 years from then, like, and all of the things that would go down in this 10 years, holy crap, y'all, like, I don't know how I'm still standing, to be honest. Like, the way that my life has shifted geographically in those 10 years, in relationships, in career, not career, but in work, in parenting. Like, you couldn't have, if you gave it to me and said, this is where you're going to be, you're going to be by yourself in this land called Albania, and talking about this stuff in a way that you don't even understand right now. I don't know if I would have believed it. So when I tell you that shifts have happened in my life over these next 10 years, and I'm going to boldly say, like, because I've been around people, I know a lot of people. Um, the shifts in my life have been plentiful. Um, I think that is why I have been so out of resonance with so many people around me, because I haven't been able to really connect with people who've had the same amount of change. And as we know, change changes us. It shows us things. When we're open to it. And I've always, not always, but certainly on this path in these last 14, 15 years of my awakening journey, like, I've been paying attention. So I've been paying attention for these 10 years. What the hell is this showing me? Because I'd rather learn the lesson and not have to repeat it. Like, that's my whole purpose. And, like, just plowing through this stuff. What is it teaching me? What is it showing me? And so I've had what I will confidently say, more change, in my physical, emotional, and mental world than most people that I have had around me. So I do feel as though there is an end now. There's an end happening, because when you're the last person standing in your world, pretty much, um, there's only one thing to do, and that is to rebirth. And that's the whole point of what this solstice is. We are now in a readied stance to rebirth ourselves. And yet there is an end that has to take place before there has to be a death. There, and many of us over these last few weeks, over these last few months, have been putting to bed and putting, like releasing a lot. And if there's anything that you're still hanging on to, sweet soul, just fucking let it go, man. Like, I don't know what else. Like, we can't put it any other way. And excuse my language, but I don't feel good. So I'm pretty raw and I'm pretty just like, just say it like it is. Because I know that there are those. I have conversations with people who are still just hanging on and saying, "Well, this flash, when the flash comes in, I'm just waiting for that." I'm like, that flash isn't going to take it. It's going to make it worse, right? It's going to be worse if you don't choose to let go what needs to be let go of. If it's a job and you're afraid, let it go. If there's if it's a relationship and there's some dysfunctional codependence, be the one to let it go, because you will survive, and we are being asked to rebirth ourselves in a whole new way. And that's happening already within us in this moment, literally. And I know this is what's also fueling my own physical body from feeling very depleted, because there's so much going on physically. The nervous system is recalibrating because it's taking in the highest levels of frequencies than we have ever had. And we are still calibrating, integrating those 30 plus solar flares that came through last week. We had two more right before I was as I was kind of making some notes for today. Two more came in today, and the whole 1212, I'm sorry, the 1221 portal is another whole. We just came out of this massive portal, and then we kind of like we're going right into this next 21 portal. 1221 is the it shows in numerology. It's the balance of opposites, the polarity. 12 and 21, they're opposites. So this is showing us that there's a balance now. And with these divine feminine energies that have been coming in, and you can reference Patricia Cota Robles's channel. Her last couple of, I think the last 3 weeks, including today, will kind of catch you up on the energies, and she really goes through the history of them and what we're moving through. But it's been pretty much, the divine feminine energy is now being able to flow in ways it has never been able to flow in, which is why our world has been so shifted to the inverted patriarchal masculine energy. It's been a huge imbalance. But remember, we're pole shifting everything and we're coming into a balance. So that is having a massive effect on our mental, emotional, and physical selves. And that divine feminine energy comes into our hearts to recalibrate and rebalance the energies of our heart. And it's unifying the masculine and feminine in our heart, which then the the these so it's balancing out the energies in our heart, which means anything that's out of balance in your world is only going to become more obvious. It's going to like punch you in the face. It's going to keep giving you right jabs until you just go down and say, I'm done with it. So that is not only giving us massive heart expansions as more balance comes in, but our nervous system as well. The physical nervous system is becoming very electrified in a different way, in a more balanced way, in a more unified way. And being that we were coming out of the inverted matrix and have been so imbalanced, that is having an effect on our bodies. Also, the newly balanced, the violet flame of our heart that's coming into balance is penetrating the brain centers, the spiritual brain centers. We've been talking about that. Remember, the 12 spiritual centers are coming in, and our spiritual brain centers, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the pineal gland, and the ganglionic center and the base of our skull, all of that is recalibrating. So this pressure here that I'm feeling, I feel is very much all of that just kind of coming into a balance, coming online, igniting, activating. Everything's just kind of like, coming into alignment and balance, all at, with the use of these massive energies that we've gotten. So the physical body is feeling more tired. The physical body is feeling, maybe not clogged, but congested in some way. My heart center has been like really, I've had to keep like kind of stretching it because I can feel it wants to stretch. It is, it feels, like when you work out your muscles, it kind of feels sore. You feel sore the next day or two. This center has felt sore since last Thursday when I cracked it open. And now physically it feels sore. So I've been just kind of, massaging it and drinking some teas. And so the I am presence is now opening up the crown chakra even more, so we can receive even more of the our supernal channel is more open than ever. So please just be taking care of it. Remember, we're like loving compassion is the theme for this month, and it's coming to an end. It feels like we just started this month, but the 25th is the end of this month of the Jubilee year. So we are now 3 months to the Jubilee year. We're a quarter of the way through. We're a quarter of the way through. We've talked about, let me go back to the first month we talked about freedom, and we were talking about that on these peace talks. And then we went into the third eye chakra, I'm sorry, the earth star chakra, and grounding ourselves down into the higher frequencies of the new earth. This month was all about loving compassion, kind of taking care of ourselves as we grounded down and planted ourselves. Then we had to nurture ourselves to bring us up into full health, and we are completing that cycle. And I don't know if you've watched the reading for the 12 months of the Jubilee cycle, but the next month we move into is evolution. Evolution. Like that's when we evolve, we ascend, we rebirth. You can't make this stuff up. And at the same time, that is exactly what the solstice is all about. Tomorrow is the day that we are rebirthed. And when you rebirth, you sit in that cycle, in that silence for 3 days to allow yourself to be cleansed and restored, and to kind of get your senses about you, and to get to kind of get your wits about you, to understand yourself, to feel into yourself. Who are you? Who are you being called to be as you evolve into the next cycle, into next year? Tomorrow is a really, really big day. If you can simply find, if you can be with yourself during the day, I get to be that. I get to do that. That's one advantage of being by myself, is I can choose whatever we do. And it's been so beautiful. I'm gonna spend the day at the beach and allow myself to be with the elements and water, and just allow myself to feel into who I've become, and what does that mean, and who am I, who do I want to be. I do know I've had many dreams. I know the dream state has been very active for a lot of people, and it has been for me as well. And they've been really interesting dreams. And the one thing that I am being very much called to is an evolution in the work that I'm doing. I haven't gotten clarity on it, but there is more, and I can feel an energy pulling me forth. And whenever I know that feeling, whenever I feel that, it just is a feeling of like, I need you to pay attention. Just pay attention, just be present. Because when that moment comes in, I there's a clarity that comes with it. So when I say that there is an end that's happening on this day, because we are laying to rest all that we have been. We are laying to rest all that we have churned up in the tsunami of energy since the November 11th portal into tomorrow's portal. So we're just simply laying all of that down because as it churned up, we saw it, we took care of it, we purged it, we accepted it, we acknowledged it, we forgave it maybe. We, whatever the process was, we know it's been extremely intense, but now we lay to rest so that we can be rebirthed tomorrow. And when we rebirth, we can be whomever we decide to be because we rebirth in full consciousness, in the highest consciousness that we have been. And when we are rebirthed in a high consciousness of awareness, we know then we have choice. We know we have a freedom. We know we've been grounded down in the new earth star chakra. We know that we are in a completely different place. Therefore, we begin again starting tomorrow. So being reverent with where are you beginning tomorrow is really, really important. And I want to be quiet for these next few days through, the next 3 days. And I want to spend time with just my supernal channel and allowing messages to come in to see where I'm being led as far as the work that I'm here to do. So I'm going to this will be the end of what I'm going to call Priya. Not going to call it Priya. She's just looking. What I'm going to call the first season of Peace Talks. I was watching a show or something on Netflix, and it was like, season one, season two was, whatever, however many episodes. And all of a sudden it came to me that, oh, I'm supposed to do these in seasons because this has been a season, this first quarter of the Jubilee year from when Peace Talks start, like Daily Tune In was a season. It was a series. And that was where we just started kind of dialing into energy and how do we navigate and how do we tune in each day to the energies. And then we kind of evolved into Peace Talks, finding our way to peace, finding our way to the 0 point, following our way to where we can get quiet enough in the reverence of the silence to start hearing peace talk through us. And what is it guiding us into? And this has been season one, which is just the beginning. And at the same time, I don't know what's being called forth from me. So I don't know if there's a new series coming. I don't know if it's season 2 of Peace Talks. I don't know if it's the end. When I was guided to name this the end, I was like, is it the end? And like, I don't know. But I do know it is the end of this season and for what I believe is going to be the rest of this linear year. So I'm going to take a hiatus from doing Peace Talks. I will be in Storehouse Social sharing and communing with you all in there, but I'm not going to be doing any lives between anymore after today through the first, just to be quiet. I want to go quiet for a little bit and tune in to my own inner world and see where we go. And tomorrow is when the sun, literally, I mean the earth comes into direct alignment with the sun and the galactic sun, and it pauses. It lands in the 0 point. And that's why that pause is a great time for us to pause. And I'm going to choose to take a pretty conscious choice and pause and really find out and get clear on what direction I'm being led to go into. And I hope you do that for yourself. And I hope that you take the time. I know it's like this is the last few days before the holiday, for the Christmas holiday, and if you're living that world, please just land in your world for a minute or an hour, Priya, and allow yourself the time to be in that 0 point tomorrow. Meet the earth, meet the sun at the 0 point stage, and allow yourself to just pause and breathe. Allow everything to end that has ended in this cycle, and allow a conscious rebirth to happen. And if you can be reverent a couple of times during the next 3 days after that, at a certain period of time, maybe take an hour to yourself, take a half an hour, take 15 minutes if you can, on the 22nd, the 23rd, and 24th, to allow yourself some time to rebirth and breathe into a rebirth. It's the most spiritually healthy thing you can do. Tomorrow is our holy day. It's the holiest day. It is the 0 point. All the stars line up to, like all the stars line up. Orion's belt lines up with the sun, lines up with the galactic core tomorrow. There's just so much that is just flowing to us, through us, for us. And it is up to us to pause and receive and then rebirth in the givingness of ourselves back into this beautiful place. Okay. So please be reverent. Allow yourself this time. So let's see what y'all are saying. Hello, hello, Grand Risings. Huge shifts here as well. I'm in a completely different world today, literally from my dream life with my happy family in the avocado jungle to me, my girls, one dog, one cat in our RV in Oregon. Nice, Liza, you made it, even on my mind. Welcome to Oregon. Welcome to a new life. Put some gas in that baby and see where it goes. That's I think we are so, I mean, we talked about this a couple of peace talks ago about being in the unknown. Like the unknown it's where we create from, and being in that in the 0 point, in the unknown, is the place of creation. It's the place of birth. It's the place of where God resides within us. It is the creator. We are a unique expression of the creator, and it doesn't create in fear. It creates only in love, only in excitement, and only in the now moment. That is our work to do, and I think we have been prepared. I feel very grounded in peace at the moment. I feel very grounded, and not even not feeling well. I feel grounded in it because I know everything that's going on within us energetically, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for feeling it. I'm grateful for being aware of it. I'm grateful for feeling like crap because I know so much is happening, and on the other side of this is going to be a whole new rebirthed me. I will be healthier than ever in all ways because everything is unifying, including us. So I'd like to invite you, if you haven't made your way to Storehouse Social, that's kind of where I'll be over the next week and a half, 10 days until we enter into 2023. And at that point, I'll just kind of let you know where we're going to be. But for now, this will be the last peace talks for that time, just to take a little bit of a break, to tune in, to listen in, to rebirth and see what direction I'm being led and where we are being led as well. Okay. Thanks you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me to bring my full self on here, even though if I feel like poop and I have a headache right there. It's like like a jabbing pain right there when I move my eyeball. It like jabs me. So it's so uncomfortable at the moment. But I'm just gonna lay down with the dogs and rest and allow my body to integrate. Thanks for being here, y'all. Love you. Mwah. Have a good one. Bye. Pepe.